How valuable a start is this, not only for you, but for the rest of these kids on the ice in terms of getting the organization moving forward and perhaps someday seeing one of these guys with the big club?
Well, I think you have to give credit to the scouting staff, and I think there's a lot of talent out here, and this has been great for them, great for us, and great for the kids to come out here.
Looking back at your experience, what's the biggest challenge for an 18-year-old to come out and make the NHL?
Well, I think just, being able to absorb information, and we have a lot of people here that are giving that for them. Right now there's so much, these kids are so much, smarter than we were when we were 18 as far as how to take care of themselves, nutrition, what we're expecting from them, what we would need from them in order to make the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Can you discuss the team's moves up to now and what may unfold as the summer goes on?
Well, I'll be honest, I was actually really pleased with Dave Nonis, and I think there was a perception out there that was incorrect about July 1st for us. I thought that we were strategic. We had a plan. We had targeted certain individuals. We got almost all of them. I think that we were interested, obviously, in re-signing David Boland, but only at a certain price. He chose to go elsewhere, and that's fine. We were disciplined when that didn't happen. We were disciplined with the money that we had and didn't throw it away that day. We had a plan to wait a couple more days for a couple other players that we were waiting for some term and dollars to go down, and we got those guys as well. So, June 30th, Randy Carlisle and I were having dinner with Stefan Robidas, and Dave Nonis was flying back from having dinner with Leo in Finland. So these were not plan Bs. These were guys that we had targeted. We were thrilled to get, and again, like I said, I thought it was on Nonis's part, the entire staff. It was strategic. It was disciplined. We're sitting here now in a position a few days later, or a week later, where we've got some players that we really like at the right numbers with the proper fit and a lot of cap space to do something if we want to going forward.
The way the roster's constructed, is it enough, do you think, to change what happened last season?
Well, I think no matter what you do at this time, it's really still just talk, and it's about getting the players on the ice. The other thing I really think was important and was a goal of ours is to leave some holes, to create some competition. We want our young players, some of the guys that are out here at this camp, some of the guys that finished the year with the Marlies, to have job opportunities. We want to have competition. We want to create that internal pressure that there are jobs to be had here.
What's the latest on Jamie Roberts' situation?
I don't want to talk about. We have a couple players that have filed for arbitration. I think it's probably best for them and for Dave Nonis and Claude Loisel not to talk about that and let them deal with that process.
There's a perception that you guys didn't do very much on July 1st or so far in the off-season because perhaps maybe you don't have to do very much in the Eastern Conference because it's not necessarily as competitive as the West. Your thoughts on what's happened in this particular side of the NHL?
Well, I think you're overthinking it. I think that we, with all due respect to the players that were signed for big dollars and big term, we looked at July 1st this year and decided that we didn't want to be too involved with some of those big signings. We had stated that a few days before while we were at the draft. Like I said, it was not our plan to be going after some of those guys, and your name always gets thrown in there when you're kicking around some tires. But again, we identified some needs. We also knew that rosters don't have to be set on July the 1st, and like I had said in Philadelphia after the draft, it's a bad habit to try and build your team on July 1st year after year after year. So it's not always a great day. But if you have certain needs and you feel that you can get some guys while everyone else is battling over other people, then identify who they are and go after them aggressively, and that's what we did.
How comfortable are you with the goaltending depth with this team, and where does Anton Bibo stand in that?
Well, I don't want to put a lot of pressure on him, but we like him a lot. Our goaltender coach likes what he sees here, and I like what I saw in the playoff run this year, because you can look at a lot of fundamentals in a goaltender, and a lot of them look very similar But I think for goaltending, a lot of it has to do with what's between the ears and what kind of how you play when you're under pressure. And he's shown a lot of promise, but he is a young player that we need to develop, and we need to get him, you know, some more games.
Do you think his Memorial Cup showing kind of affected your
Well,
impression of him?
I think his entire showing this year and his entire playoff run was impressive.
What's the latest with the timeline for assistant coaches and the vacancies there?
Dave Nonis and Randy Carlisle are working on that, and you know, I'd like to have that done, you know, relatively soon.
Have you had any input yourself into those choices as assistant coaches?
Yeah, I think it's important, obviously, that as a group of coaches, that they all are comfortable and get along with each other. We have some ideas. There are some you know, conversations that are going on. We had a few guys that we were interested in that we had to respect the fact that they had some interviews for head coaching jobs. But like I said, I think that's something that Dave and Randy are working on, and we should have an answer there relatively soon.
Brendan, I know it's only July, but a guy like William Nylander, a guy who has options, do you have a plan for him at this point, or is it still too early to say?
Well, he's been very impressive, and not to put pressure on a young player like that, but I think the first step was just getting him here. To me, what really impresses me about William, aside from the skill level that he has, is just his the character that he's shown since he's been here. It's obvious that this is a player that has been schooled well. He's polite. He's a good teammate. He does all the little things, staying out late, picking up pucks. He's just a humble guy. He's a humble guy in the room. As impressed as we were with William on the ice, we've been impressed with him in the dressing room and with the coaching staff and with his new teammates.
Have you had anything to do yourself with adding something to this camp in terms of drills, philosophies, anything you've had?
Well, I think that you know, I'll give the credit to this camp to, you know, guys like Steve Spott and Jim Hughes and just, you know, their team of people. We've got a large group of people in there that have worked very well, you know, between our coaching staff and our development staff. You will see, in my opinion, I just think that how we develop our kids will always need to improve, continue to improve. It's incredibly important. These kids that are here right now, and again, like I said, you have to also create some spots for them. You gotta have a few holes there with the big club, so that not only these guys but our Marley guys who are in the gym in the mornings know that you know, there's a reason to be working out this summer, that there's an opportunity and there's a job to be won possibly.